Hi folks, welcome back to another video in the series of gaining speed. I did say in the last video when I talked about the super speed system and kind of how I was using that to gain speed, that I would get into the weight room and I would do a workout and I would show you that workout. And so that's what we're going to do today. Now I have just finished my super speed session. I started with a max speed of 129.9 on the flight scope, 129.9 if you can see that. My finishing speed was my last swing, which was 135.5 miles an hour. And so in that session there, you could say I kind of gained 5.5 miles an hour. It won't stick because I've done it on that one session. Obviously recurring over time is going to mean that my swing speed goes up. So that's why we implement it into our protocols. But today I want to talk about the workout. And so what I'm going to be doing today when we go into the weight room in a moment is some hex bar deadlifts. We're going to be doing some overhead toss work where we're triple extension and working on firing the hips. And then we're going to have some accessory moves, kind of stabilizing the hips. We've got a dumbbell snatch, really working on that overhead with the arm. We've got a pendlay row for back strength and power. And we've also got a rear delt fly with a band. And then we've got our core work where we've got slams, chops, and stability work for the trunk. So I'm going to take you through that workout right now. I'm probably going to film maybe one exercise for each set and then just kind of chop it all together. Maybe do a voiceover and talk about the exercise and maybe some coaching points to give you a bit of an idea of what we're focused on when we do our lifts. And so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to get ready and we'll start that session now. We're starting off with the deadlifts then, and I've got my feet about hip width apart. I'm really trying to make sure I feel braced here through my trunk, and I'm pulling my lats in nice and tight. Again, we're only hitting 3 reps here. I want it to feel maybe like a 55-60%, so hitting maybe 3 to 4 more reps is the feel. Giving myself maybe 15-20 seconds here. It actually may be a little bit less than that, but moving on into our overhead bucket toss. So we're really trying to focus on loading up into the hips and take that move that we've just done with the hex bar and that hip hinge movement and really accelerate it and give it some more power here. So again, driving hard through the hips, creating that violent triple extension with the ankles, the knees and the hips, be aggressive throwing that ball into the wall. It's really giving you that kind of feel of power. Again, that accessory move is the crossover step up. So I'm actually leaning into that kind of lead hip, that right hip here on the right leg, stepping across the box. Again, 5 reps here is really just about being able to feel that we're loading up into the hip properly, staying nice and stable. The one big thing here that I always coach with any athlete when we're doing step-ups is that we're really trying not to use the back leg. I see a lot of the time people pushing off that back leg. I really want us to be concentrating on that lead leg or the left leg here as you're seeing it, doing the work and not the trail leg. I think if you can get that, it's a whole game changer for what happens for hip stability because of the strength that you gain. Okay, so that was a pretty tough set. I did 5 rounds of this at 315 on the hex bar. We're trying to aim for about 55% of a 1 rep max. So we're keeping it relatively, I want to say relatively light, and so it felt maybe a little higher than 55%, but really felt good. The main intent here is obviously driving off the ground as hard as we can and just trying to feel that we're using a lot of strength and kind of hitting that side of the equation for strength and speed with that move. Then moving on to the overhead toss with the slam ball. Whenever I do my testing with TPI, because of my weight, I should be at about 9 pounds with a weighted ball, but I don't have a 9-pound ball here. We have 11 or 7, so I always test with 7. But whenever we do any of the throws or slams or anything, I always work with like a 10-pound ball. So it's slightly above that kind of threshold of what I should be using, but it always feels pretty solid. And then obviously that third exercise, that accessory move with the crossover step up, we're really trying to challenge the abductors and the adductors of the leg and the hip to stabilize the pelvis. So we've got our strength exercise here, or our kind of maybe power exercise. We then go into a true kind of speed exercise with the overhead toss, and then we have our stability exercise with that crossover step up onto the bench. Again, 5 rounds of that. We were hitting 3 reps, and 5 on each leg as the accessory move. And so it really challenges you to produce a lot of power and move heavy weight, but then move lightweight fast. So we're going to move to upper body now. Snatch, pendlay row, and a rear delt fly. Let's get to it.
Moving on to upper body then, and we're going dumbbell snatch first move. I love this exercise with a dumbbell. I think it's really great. I love doing it with a bar. The only reason why I don't typically do a barbell snatch with golfers is just the amount of work that goes through the wrists. There's a lot that goes on here. I think kettlebell snatches are really good. I think that the only problem I have with kettlebell snatches for a lot of golfers is just the catch position. If they get it wrong, obviously it hurts the wrist or it can bang the back of the arm. So I like this dumbbell variation here that works really, really well. Again, using the ground, trying to drive out, get that nice solid pull with the arm and stabilize at the top before you bring it back down. Love that move. Pendlay row is absolutely one of my favorite pull moves. I love the fact that you have to really lock in through the back, through the legs, and really drive from the arms and get them to do the work, which really forces us to have to be powerful through the back of the body. And then this move here, I like this setup with having one hand on the knee and really feel like I'm hinged on the hips. I do like that little rotation. I still feel the backside of my shoulder working, but I also feel kind of lower traps, rhomboids, having to do a little more work to stabilize the shoulder blades, which is quite a big thing for golfers. It's not just about the posterior delt or the rear delt. It's very much about what's happening with the shoulder blade and underneath that shoulder blade to control the scapulars on the shoulder blades to make sure we're staying nice and strong and stable.
All right, okay, so upper body is done. We're now moving to core and conditioning, and we're going to be working on a sit-up and throw. We're going to be working on a split stance wood chop down into the ground, and then we're going to be working on a plank hip twist, bit of disassociation work. So we're really focused on kind of chop power here with the sit-up and throw. We're really working on kind of that chop power across the body with that split stance wood chop. And then we're finishing off with that plank hip twist, where it's disassociation of the shoulders and the hips, being able to get the hips to rotate while the shoulders stay static. Bit of shoulder stability work in there, yes, obviously with that plank hip twist, but a lot of it more is the disassociation of the hips and the shoulders and being able to get that rotation. We've got 2 rounds here, 10 reps, 10 on each side, and then 30 reps on the plank hip twist. So we're going to get into that now, and then I'll catch up with you at the end of the workout.
I absolutely love this move. I think that, to be honest, I think I throw a little bit too high on the first few reps here, and I think I start to drop it down a little bit, and I prefer that. But the ability to create that kind of chop power through the trunk and through the arms, such a great position and great move to work on here. I really feel like athletes and golfers certainly get a lot of benefit from this move. When we do this, we're really trying to focus on pulling as fast as we can with the arms and flexing through the trunk a little bit afterwards, so it's more of a throw and then a sit-up. When we get to this chop, I really like this. I see a lot of times with golfers that they're very good on our dominant side, and it's the non-dominant side chopping that's just so awkward. But again, that staggered stance position, you're really trying to load through the hips and stabilize through the hips, that when you start chopping, you can feel that you're really having to brace and stabilize through the hips and into the trunk. Again, it's one of those moves. Hitting maybe 10 reps on this each side is a good start position. If you need to start a little bit lighter and maybe a little bit less reps to build up the capacity, that's fine too. I think you're going to get a lot of benefit out of this, and you can also switch the feet as well. Finishing it off with our plank hip twists. Again, it's one of those moves where we're trying to just stabilize the shoulders and just really trying to allow the trunk to rotate as much as we can. It's not going to be a huge amount of movement. I think the big thing here is you're going to feel the obliques doing the work, which is what we want, because we're in that kind of braced position and we're rotating, which is exactly what we have in the golf swing. And so I think this is a really cool move for a lot of golfers to be working on.
All right, folks, there you have it. That's one of the workouts that we do here at the Academy at the minute with our programming. So feel really good about this kind of workout. because it's forcing us to lift heavy, which is quote unquote relative to the athlete, but then it also forces us to move fast. And so anytime we're trying to train athletes to be faster or move faster, we want to have an element of over speed work where we have something that's a light instrument that we're moving faster. We want to have this element of strength or strength speed where we've got something relatively heavy that we're trying to pick up with a lot of force and be able to increase that kind of contractile force and contracting element of it being we're trying to do it as fast as possible with a weight that's going to challenge us and make us move at a certain speed. So it may look slow, but we're producing a lot of force down into the ground, let's say with the deadlift, and then we're taking that and putting that into a movement like an overhead toss where we're rapidly firing the hips, which is what we want. So all of the training is designed to do that here in the academy, along with the super speed training system. Really enjoy that workout. Again, the core work, it's one of those where we want to be stabilizing the trunk, but we also want to be creating some rotation. We want to also be stabilizing. We want to be making sure that we're able to fire and flex effectively. And so I really like all those moves that we did today in that workout. And so that's basically how our programming works here at the academy. We'll have different days, different sessions, and then we'll repeat the cycle for maybe 8 weeks, and then change the cycle depending on where we are in the season and where we are in the year. So that's kind of how it operates here. Really like the setup we've got at the minute. The athletes that we've got in here are making progress, whether they're high school, college, professional, they're all seeing those returns on that investment and being able to make progress. And the one thing that I'm really appreciative of all our athletes is their level of consistency. I think way too often it's way too easy for people to look at where certain players are and think that's where I need to be and that's what I need to be doing. Yet oftentimes you have to start where you are, and then you have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to suck at this for a little while and then I'm going to get better because I'm going to be consistent at it. And I think if you can do that, it's certainly going to pay its way forward when you get good at something. No one likes to suck at anything, but when we get better at something, it's worth its weight in gold, especially to be able to look back and say, that was difficult, but I'm better for doing it. So again, I hope you like that video. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in another one, and we've got some really cool content coming up. So make sure you stay notified with the videos that are coming up, and don't forget to check out our shorts as well. We've got some really cool edits that are coming out at the minute. We've got some great videographers, photographers that work with us, so we're really appreciative of that. So I'll see you in the next one. Take care.